In this video, we will go over the Ice Blast team, which is the new ice damage type that excels at single target encounters. Let's dive in. First, let's explain what Ice Blast is. Ice Blast specializes in dealing great amount of damage directly to enemies. Heroes with this type of damage use ice crystals to enhance their abilities, similar to Rally. However, Ice Blast heroes can accumulate up to 5 ice crystals that cannot be dispelled and don't have a duration. When casting battle skills, they consume 1 stack of ice crystal to trigger an extra battle skill. This starts a chain reaction. Let's have a look at how it works exactly. Here we can see Beldel, an exclusive Ice Blast hero that can trigger multiple battle skills as long as she has ice crystals on. Just look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now she ran out of them, so she will stop. Her ultimate gives her a chance of applying them, and she's back at 3 stacks, now 5, which is maximum. And when she starts hitting with battle skill, look at this. The stacks are disappearing, but he's enabling her, which basically means she can replace her auto attacks with the battle skill. And when she casts her ultimate, the chain is not stopped. She goes straight back to the battle skill, and she continues hitting until she runs out. I hope this was a good explanation of how this works. So let's go over Beldel, an exclusive Ice Blast hero with an exclusive artifact. So Beldel's passive basically says that when she consumes a stack of ice crystal, she can cast the battle skill again, and damage dealt from the current skill will be increased by 25% up to 100%. If the skill isn't triggered again within 3.5 seconds, the accumulated damage bonus is emptied, so she loses this damage, the extra damage here. Now, what her battle skill does a lot of damage. This is a single target damage, and also boosts her critical damage by 30%, so that's why we build her with crit rate, crit damage, and some attack. And this set that boosts her damage, where when she casts a skill, is really good for her. Is very good for the Ice Blast heroes anyway, because they can constantly keep the 4 stacks here. Her ultimate gives her a 50% chance to apply a stack of ice crystal on top of striking an enemy 3 times. So we have 3 times 50% chance of applying it. So if we're lucky, she can be self-sufficient. If not, then it's always a good idea to bring another Ice Blast hero here, and you could see her in action. When she's got these ice crystals on, she can constantly hit the runaway skill, which is her battle skill, and she will do it instead of auto attacks. That's why she can deal tremendous single target damage. Now her exclusive artifact increases the damage dealt by runaway by 35%, so that's her battle skill, and also the stackable damage of Frost Favor to 200, which is the passive. So instead of 100, we'll have 200. So her damage is going through the roof with this artifact. Zorak is a second legendary hero in the Ice Blast category that is available in Season 2. His passive is a little bit different than every other Ice Blast hero because it doesn't trigger second battle skill. Instead, when an ally casts a spell that consumes ice crystal, the hero fires an icicle at the current target, dealing 50% derivative damage with 35% chance, that goes to 50, of gaining 1 ice crystal. His battle skill does not cast twice, but instead consumes all the ice crystals, and every stack of ice crystal will launch an additional icicle that deals 105% attack and 1250 enlightenment damage. This is why we build him with enlightenment, and there's a very good set now for enlightenment heroes that also boost the relative damage by ignoring 20% of the defense. His ultimate is what's really making him very useful for our Ice Blast team, and definitely a good addition to the team. He grants 40% damage up to all Ice Blast allies for 10 seconds, with a 100% chance of granting them 1 stack of ice crystal. So every hero will get 1 stack of crystal. Basically, you want to cast this ultimate first. Meanwhile, all Ice Blast allies gain the effect of Zarok's passive skill for 15 seconds. So every Ice Blast hero will cast this extra icicle. So, you know, it is amazing damage. And let's see how he does in game. You'll see that his skills in action. So damage-wise, he is not impressive, but you can see these icicles there. He's going to give everyone an ice crystal, and he will consume his. As you can see, all the ice crystals are gone when he casts his battle skill. So instead of casting it twice, he just consumes everything. And that's the difference. The third legendary hero in the Ice Blast category is Sheena. Sheena, similar to Beldel, double cast or triple depending on how many ice crystals you have, her battle skill. And when she grants an ice crystal to all Ice Blast allies, the hero will additionally grant 1.5 attack up that lasts for 10 seconds to all Ice Blast allies. So she's another great buffer to boost Beldel's damage. And her battle skill generates a frost bomb after a brief channeling, dealing 90% attack cold damage to the enemy, and generates an extra bomb for each stack of ice crystal the hero has. Each time a frost bomb hits the target, there is a 50% chance of granting one stack of ice crystal, which goes to 75% chance. Her ultimate casts a spell for 6 seconds. Duration during this period strikes a random enemy every 0.5 seconds, each time dealing 80% cold damage with a 50% chance of granting one stack of ice crystals to all Ice Blast allies, which goes to 65%. So that ticks 12 times during that duration. So as you can see, this stack of ice crystals can go through the roof. And let's see her in action. Actually, I'm building her with the Gambler set, you know, because she's doing this continuous damage here and multi damage here as well. And I built her with attack as well to ensure she can move it to the other heroes when you see the fights later on. So let's see how her skills look in the game. Okay, so she casts her ultimate and no battle skill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row, 6 times in a row. You know what I'm saying. Basically, if these heroes got this ice crystals on, they will constantly deal damage through their battle skill instead of their auto attacks. Now let's see how it looks against multiple targets here. So she's about to cast her Vortex, which will give us a lot of crystals. So she's at 5 stacks, and she's casting it constantly again, gaining this ice crystal while consuming it. So the idea here is simple. If you have this damage-oriented heroes, they will definitely replace their auto attacks with their battle skills. Let's move on to epic Ice Blast heroes, and my favorite, Bledin. You could see him in action with every hero that I showed today because he's just amazing. When he has an ice crystal, he can cast a battle skill again. When he triggers a crit hit, he has a 20% chance of granting one stack of ice crystal to one Ice Blast ally. Now, as you can see, I built him with only over 80% crit rate because we are replacing our basic attack, auto attack with battle skill if we have enough Ice Blast heroes to keep us going, and his battle skill has a 20% chance of triggering a critical hit. So this will be always 100%. So strikes the enemy twice, each dealing 190% cold damage. So that is 380 cold damage coming here, a single target burst, and 20% chance of granting one stack of Ice Blast to allies. And this is what's making him deal so much damage. He's like probably second, maybe third best damage Ice Blast damage dealer in the game. Now he also grants 20% attack up for 10 seconds and 2 stacks of ice crystal to the hero and the ice crystal ally with the highest attack. So he is this cheap version of Zorak basically. And then He basically also strikes 3 times, dealing damage with additional 20% chance of triggering critical hit. Currently, this team has no one with defense down. He might fill in that role because he has triple hits here. So we saw him in action. I'm going to show him again. Well, you will see him through all the tests here. The artifact I put on him is Blum of Perina. Obviously, this is like high-end artifact, so, you know, even, as I said, Witch's Remain, Crown, or even the Eyeball of the Giant will work well on him. When the wearer consumes Ice Crystal, their next battle skill deals extra 25%. That is amazing with him. But, I mean, most of the damage will come from the battle skill, but if you want to boost this a little bit more, you can bring Eyeball of the Giant. And again, the inventors said because we will have this 32% damage bonus constantly on. The next epic Ice Blast hero is Sadik. Sadik's passive makes him cast his battle skill twice, as well as has a 50% chance of ignoring 30% enemy defense. His battle skill strikes enemy 3 times, each dealing cold damage. The damage is increased by 10% each time this skill is cast in a battle with 10 stacks, which increases the damage of this skill by 100%. Now, the only issue with Sadik is he's got really low chance of self-applying ice crystals, basically only through an ultimate, and this applies only one of them, as you can see here. 100% chance to apply 1 stack of ice crystal with 720 cold damage. This is not the main source of the damage will be coming from here. So this is why I've built him with Manticore statue to boost his battle skill damage even further. He's built with crit rate and crit damage. Again, we want to make sure we crit, we hit, and we hit hard with our battle skill. This is why we're also using this skill set here, which will boost the damage of the hero up to 32%, which will be stacked here constantly. As I said previously, he's very hard to get ice crystals by himself, so despite us having one enabler here, we definitely need to bring second one for him to shine, and you can see he's getting this damage bonus up constantly. Got lots of ice crystals, and the attack up comes from the mermaid. Now, you might remember how the Burn team had a cheaper version of the exclusive hero. Here's one for the Ice Blast. Garafin works in a similar fashion. She will cast the battle skill as long as she's got ice crystals, and when she does it, when she obtains the ice crystal, she gains 30% increased critical damage. Her battle skills gives her an increased crit rate by 20%, and strikes enemy twice, dealing 290 attack, which is 580 on the battle skill, which is really good. And she gains 1 stack of ice crystal immediately if she kills an enemy. So obviously against the bosses, this will not trigger. So she's very hard to keep these ice crystals on her own because she only gets 1 through the ultimate, which is at the low cooldown as well. Huge damage, huge scaling as well. We're building her in a similar fashion to Beldel. Crit up to 80%, crit damage as high as possible, attack as well, and Manticore to boost this huge damage on the battle skill. I had to bring another enabler here because otherwise she's not getting these ice crystals, and that is her only downside. So let's see how she does in the fight. As you can see, she's got these crystals, and now she's gonna pop her ultimate, which boosts her damage tremendously. This scaling there is huge, and now she's gonna constantly hit with her battle skill until she runs out of the ice crystals. But with these 2 enablers, there's no chance she will. And she does similar damage to Sheena, who is an amazing damage dealer in the legendary category. Not as good as Beldel, but she's definitely there when it comes to single target damage dealers. So yes, we have very good options in the epic tier for the Ice Blast as well. And the last hero is the rare called Nord. And Nord deals damage and also has a 20% chance of granting 1 stack of ice crystal to the Ice Blast ally with the highest attack other than hero. So not only the damage he does is huge because it's 420 on the battle skill, plus 700 on the ultimate that can hit multiple targets. he has a chance of giving this stack of crystals to his allies through the passive and himself through the ultimate. However, he still needs someone to give him ice crystals to constantly hit with it. So that's why I'm bringing 2 enablers here to just show how much damage he can do. Right, so first he will be slow because we need these stacks. And now he will be constantly proccing his battle skill instead of instead of the basic attacks. But obviously he's against those epics. This epic that I said previously that is amazing and really amazing, and a legendary hero that is based on damage as well. So he's not going to do that much damage. Maybe if we put 3 targets in. So now his ultimate at least will deal additional damage because he will hit all 3 targets with it. So as we can see, he has definitely a different use. He can be brought in to help with this AoE content if you only manage to get Ice Blast heroes, which is obviously impossible because you can just bring other Frost heroes that deal AoE damage and don't require a good synergy with these heroes. So how does the team do against the Vortex? I am at 15 stacks, 30 million in, and no witches remain. This team, however, uses 4 damage dealers and only 1 tank slash healer slash cleanser slash everything, and it's Arderf, which you will have a chance to meet later on, and I'll explain why we don't need anyone else. And here we go, 63 million at 50 stacks. And the reason why we're using her as a single healer, buffer, and everything is because her ultimate allows her to heal her allies with each auto attack. Just look at it. She casts it, right? She blesses everyone through that. And now every auto hit will heal the target with the lowest HP. And she's really enough. Although obviously this is Vortex 2, so once we get to Vortex 4 and different buffs, debuffs, we'll have to amend this team. Buff of Time Being, this is going to work really well. And I'll show you guys why she also works well just in a second. So we're still going strong at 130 stacks. She casts her ultimate and just look at this healing from auto attacks. It's basically topping everyone who has low HP. And the cast time is 12.5 seconds on the ultimate with the haste build I've prepared here. So that's why she's such an amazing pick. But let's try this team with her and another support just to minimize, the damage. This time we're going to use Rose, who's amazing. I mean, she looks amazing here, but sadly she doesn't work too well on this Vortex boss because her healing does not work due to heal allies surrounding the random enemy, and apparently they are not surrounding the boss. So the healing will not be there, but she is still amazing pick because she brings attack penalty and extra healing and stuff. Let's try this. So 50 stacks and very similar result. This time around we had Witches Remain and a more optimized team rather than the one I put in previously. And as you can see, Rose is not healing anything here. So now let's try the free-to-play friendly version of this team. I mean, I'm still gonna keep the supports here because we only want to see the damage of the Ice Blast heroes. Definitely lower damage, but that's caused because the 2 damage dealers require a better Ice Crystal enabler. So I'm going to put the Mermaid in this team. So there's definitely an improvement in the damage. However, obviously Beledel is the one excelling here. You definitely want her with her weapon to be the highest possible damage you can deal. But I'm quite happy with it. I mean, those 2 guys are still very solid. They can outdamage the legendary hero. So yeah, let's try this team. Well, let's see how the wild team does here to compare this team against it. Obviously, due to affinity, the wild team will look different this season. There won't be Ogok, so I'm gonna put Adolphus here. As I said, we don't really care about those 2 heroes. Really, we only care about the damage raised to 50 stacks. So Flora with her weapon and this amazing set. This set is really suited for Flora here. And Tonalnen and Eric Enabler of the Witches Remain, and Tonalnen with the Wild. So yeah, let's try this. So as we can see, 53 million with 50 stacks with the Wild team, so definitely higher damage potential with the Ice Blast on single target bosses. Let's try them in different content. So this is definitely not a Goblin team. I can see that Beldel is obviously struggling to survive. I can bring in Voresh here to bring a little bit of healing and AoE damage, but I wanted to run it in similar fashion to what I've done with the Burn team, basically run 5 heroes here. And while the time is not terrible, keep in mind this is a super strong single target team. As you can see, everything dies quite quickly, but we don't have any AoE damage, so we're losing a lot of time here. I mean, we're still very close to maxing it, right? So with Voresh, we'll probably get it over the line. Okay, so let's test it against the weekly bosses so you can compare it later on with the Burn team. So as I said, I don't really need to bring another healer or a tank when we have Alderf here. Obviously, in your case, you might need to, so the damage will be a little bit lower, but look at this damage. 15 seconds to get you to your second phase. Now, obviously here we will have a little bit of a issue, but he will go invincible. But look at this, look how much damage we've done before he gets it. We're almost got him down. Now we'll definitely need some manual casting to get rid of the ads. And here is the rare and epic version. Again, we can see how quickly they get rid of the boss. Almost the same time it took us to get to the second stage against the boss. And in similar manner, now we need to switch to manual casting on the boss, on the ads, to get them killed. So another challenge is the Corrupted Queen Sylvester. She is the AoE battle. But I mean, what I've done in the global with my Wild team, I ignored all the ads and I just burst her down. And you'll see how strong this team is, and it can do something very similar. Look at this. I just have to stop it because I don't want that to be dead. I want to try the free-to-play friendly team. 25 seconds and the boss is almost down. Obviously, these bosses have had their levels reduced, so it's easier for us to deal with them. Let's try this team. And again, as I said, we don't really need 2 tanks, 2 healers with her in the team, which will really help. Obviously, I'm just testing her, and you'll probably need to bring 2 healers, well, tank and a healer here. Let's see how this cheaper variant works. So it is definitely slower. But it's still doable. There you go, I'm gonna stop now. 35 seconds to get to this point. Overall, I think this team excels at single target encounters. It might not be as flashy as the burn team, but the potential is there, and replacing our basic auto attacks with battle skills, if we bring in enough utility, enough ice crystals generation to the team, is an amazing thing. On top of that, the available epic heroes are also doing very good job. So yeah, I believe this is going to be an exciting team that can probably get the highest scores in Temporal Vortex.